Your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. What another wonderful Wednesday edition of Talk Today as we invite you to be a part of all that's going to happen. Some open line to set things in play. 949-837, 1-800-534-TALK or 949-6990. Pick it up, 1969 Camaro RS. 949-6990. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow,
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. You know, we could offer a prize to the first caller. Maybe we share with you, the bowl of our candy. Maybe you can share with us from the fountain of your wisdom. Maybe you just want to set the stage and, get things rolling. Well, give us a shout and ensure that spirit of cooperation and unity, a spirit of dialogue and discourse, that sentiment that for democracy to truly be championed, its people must ensure that they actively engage and participate and not allow the loud voices to be the only ones that are heard, not the notion that we all seem to have heard and seemingly accept, the silent majority. Well, if they're silent, how do we know they're the majority? And if it's what they say, the squeaker wheel gets the oil, then perhaps that's where the attention will go, because sometimes the loud, obnoxious upstart is the one that seems to, in today's language, bully his way, through the playground and gets all the attention, as opposed to perhaps how it was long ago when our parents and their parents would tell us, you knew your place. You didn't run around, shot over everybody else simply because you think you had the goal, or in today's world, a gun. Or has it always been that way and it's just there's more of them now, or worse, less of us who are willing to stand up, speak up and be counted? Well, it's not going to be that way today, right? 949-837, 949-6990 or WhatsApp 925-3261 and be a part of our discussion. I should like to share with you that I only Wednesday in the week, and already I've had a couple of long days, but very, very engaging, informative, and encouraging. And that a wonderful lady, if she would allow me to say that, she would quickly, not in a way to try to pull rank or in a way to say that's because she has a number of years, to her credit. But she says, if age gives you an opportunity to have lived a life that through which you could have garnered experiences, and that experience being good, bad, or otherwise, can be a good teacher if you allow those experiences to do just that. And she shared, the beauty of living to an older age, that you have more time to make more mistakes. She says it in a very jovial way, but she can tell you that being a part of this community now and seeing all that transpired in her lifetime, she's seen significant markers. For her, it was after the passage of Hurricane Ivan, it was, AI in BI, after Ivan, before Ivan. Shortly before that, people were up in arms about the status grant, some of whom thought, should have been done a long time ago. Some who thought should have been done differently, so that it didn't discredit the process nor disrespect the recipients. Not only by how it was done, but the fact that for some, they were awarded and others were excluded. Now, she said prior to that, there were, different little things that occurred and seemingly inconsequential and insignificant until you look at them collectively. Now, she shared that she, like many, unfortunately, were either just prior to or that fateful day in September, 2001, where whether you had clients here or whether you were in New York or some of the other financial markets, to watch, as seemingly the world came to a standstill. And yet we have seemingly forgotten what may have caused us to get there, what may be transpiring as a consequence, and willing to accept that the trade-off means that innocent, law-abiding people should be subjected to greater and greater scrutiny, as opposed to a concerted effort to ensure that the individuals who are bent on ill are the ones that are, how does she put it, made to pay. And she says sometimes those individuals are not just the people that we have maligned through media accounts, but there are some of the same people who allegedly, maybe even in the minds of others, conspired through their position, whether elected or whether appointed, or whether because they hold, a significant wealth or influence, to orchestrate certain things, whether they're well-intentioned or otherwise. Now, she gave us, as a simple example, the notion that in the Cayman context, if we look the last, 2+ years, how people have become unwilling to interact and associate, how people have been unwilling to even think and ask questions collectively, and the few that have are malign. Now, she says if you have lived the years that she has, with the many decades under her belt, what has happened throughout history. And in her thought process, I think she gave us a bit of exercise just to go back through history. Take it, if you can, physically to the library. Look at a physical book. Don't look and trust the online resource, because what if, whether maliciously and deliberately, whether just an inadvertent error, things are being sort of represented to reflect a kind of, gentler, sanitized version of history. And she calls me, as the educated that she is, to think. And I share it with you. Where are we? And what will our children and their children think of our actions today and our inactions? Now, we're going to do a number of things. First off, extend another, encouraging invitation to each of you to feel welcome, to pick up the phone and dial us and say, this is my opinion. with the greatest respect and love for the late Mr. Dolan Hunter, he would share his view, and we miss hearing him. It was encouraging the few times off air when he would call and he would say, well, I hope I didn't, my words, not his, step out of line or be offensive, but it was his perspective. And no, he wasn't. He would advocate for things that he thought were beneficial, not only to him, and sometimes not even to him, but for the entire community in which he lived, and then by extension, the country. If Mr. Mickey would not mind me using him as a reference point, he has said to us, where is the courage? Where are we lacking courage? It doesn't mean, as he shares, that his view is the only view, or that it may even be the best view, but it is his considered opinion. Now, if individuals like that can stand in the gap, where are the rest of us? I'll say this to you and ask you to guide me. If it's offensive, tell me, so that if it's appropriate, I can apologize. I won't apologize with an intent of defending it. If I think there's no apology needed, I'll say so. But take, for instance, and I'm inspired by the lady earlier, we talk about, the cabinet and the caucus. Now, before we take this call, let's do that. All right, and then I'll come back to that. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling. How you doing?
Hey, good afternoon. Sterling. How are you? Sterling Dwayne, yeah?
Sterling Dwayne.
That's the one, boy. I tell you, my daddy gave me his name. I gave it to my son.
Everything like that, bro.
There you go, man. There you go.
Yeah,
good to hear from you.
I was just listening to you. I had laughing. You mentioned old friend Mr. Dolan.
Yeah, man.
Somebody tell me some days ago, say, I Brock number 2.
Yeah.
I can't lose my name, because Susan got my name, the butler, man.
The butler, man.
So I really don't know which way to go, but anyway, I leave that to the Kim Brothers. Let them do the choosing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I was just watching and I was doing the radar check there with the planes.
Mm-hmm.
See the flight coming from Havana. So I guess they're not coming to. I guess they're not coming to take out the Cubans that here. But anyway, that's not what I called for. I hope somebody pertaining even to a minister, I hope someone is listening pertaining to agriculture department. Mm-hmm. We have a building up here that they use as the agriculture department office. Now they got a nice facility on the bluff. But the old facility was the original old school that they used for years up Spot Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And that place, Sterling, is a disaster, a fire disaster waiting to happen. I understand some years ago, or some months ago, they had an incident there where the building almost burned down. Well, you know how that catch fire? It's not no sense of fire truck really, because when they come there, they only got fire in the foundation. So that thing will go up like fire, like cotton in fire. So it's a concern, and it's a concern for other people that live in the area for that to burn, because it has chemicals inside it. And I think the agriculture department, they should get together and decide to just put the main office on the bluff where all the rest of the stuff is up there, and just have a nice clean setup and do away with that building, because that is not fitting for nothing. That building is not fitting for nothing. It's rat infested, it's rotten, it's termite eaten, and it's like I say, it's just a disaster waiting to happen there. That's basically all I was going to talk about today. So I don't know if you want to ask me something. That's up to you.
No, I would very much like to. Let me just ask 2 questions. One, do we need to take the break now, Mr. Kakal? And then secondly, with that in mind, do you want us to call you back or you want to hang on?
Yeah, call me back, because I'm still on this.
Yeah.
I want to talk about. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, don't hang up. We can get his number, sir. And then we'll call you, right? All right. Listen, we're going to make this work for us, because at the end of the day, it is us who must work together. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Did you know that ValueMed Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with ValueMed. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. ValueMed on Walker's Road or Town. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Increase your chances to win during the Rubis Pure Joy promotion. Don't miss Double Stamp Tuesdays and Thursdays at Jose's Rubis. Reflections offers you gas for less, and each time you fuel up at Jose's Rubis, you can enter to win weekly prize giveaways, plus the grand prize of a beautiful piece of land in Grand Cayman.
I'm sorry, what?
What did you say? Yes, Double Stamp Tuesdays and Thursdays are back at Jose's. Lower priced fuel, awesome prizes, and your chance to win a $150,000 piece of land. Don't forget, on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Jose's Rubis, you not only get gas for less, you get double stamps to enter to win a $150,000 piece of land in the Rubis Pure Joy promotion. Be entered to win in the Rubis Pure Joy promotion by January 27th.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Are you a Caymanian student graduating or graduated from a government high school and hoping to pursue undergraduate studies at any of the world's most prestigious universities with government financial support? Then you may qualify for the new Government High Schools Scholar Award, which provides 2 students with up to $100,000 in annual tuition funding. Visit the Ministry of Education website at www.gov.ky/education to learn more about this latest opportunity to reach your full potential.
New year, new arrivals at Tomlinson Furniture and the Mattress Gallery. Modern and stylish bedroom sets are up to 20% off. Save up to $600 on Beauty Rest Black mattress sets and iComfort mattress sets, including adjustable bases. Our Palliser shipment of quality sofas, sectionals, and sleepers has also arrived with great family-friendly steam-resistant fabrics. Discover all the new arrivals, including plush beanbags. Save now until January 31st, only at Tomlinson Furniture and the Mattress Gallery, corner of Hospital and Walker's Road.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for sharing with us. They say sometimes when you're talking, to yourself, it's not a bad thing unless you hear yourself answer back. Well, is that really a bad thing? Because maybe in your mind, you're asking and answering and you're having a discussion. But that may be fun at the time. Very grateful, for what? Bracket number 2, Mr. Butler, man.
I forgot you to say that, what?
Man, but see, Mr. Carl gave me the script to read it. I just kidding. No, man. But thank you for hanging on, because I want to engage you, and through you, others may feel inspired and encouraged to stand up and speak up. Mr. Elvis over in the back. Many people have a perspective. Sadly, what they've shared with me privately is, okay, we don't necessarily like how some people say some things sometimes, some places, but the fact that they say it. Now, if you, me, and the next man can speak our mind, stand for what we believe in, and encourage others to understand that they are defended to say what they want, why can't it be more of us?
Well, how I look at life in Sterling, I said it many times before, I have run my race. I collect as much trophies as I can. I don't have nowhere else in my house to put no trophies.
Yeah.
My children have not started their race yet.
Yeah, man.
So that is my concern, why I am so willing to take up in the conversation.
Exactly.
and hear it. I don't know, like when my father talk about go up on the Miesbury tree and bite off my gum.
No, man.
I'm not intending to be that kind of person. If someone have a problem and they bring it to me with an issue,
yep.
I am not a politician and I am not a prophet or I ain't no anchor, but I am willing to go and speak my mind regarding things that needs to be done on this island.
Right.
And I mean, I can go from topic to topic, but
exactly.
This is a new year in Sterling. One of the things I mentioned that Dave and I called was regarding the groupers in the sea that God put out there in abundance. He put it there in abundance. I am wondering and asking why it is that the laws that we have in these countries are only for the foreigners and not for the brackers, that we can have our waters open once more in order to receive what we can have for families to eat. I am tired and sick of being sick and tired.
Right. So let me ask.
I went to wait on that barge to come back to bring me 10 pounds of chicken. I am tired eating chicken.
Yeah. I mean, and I appreciate you sharing it, and I'm not going to be partly guided by what you share, and by extension, inviting our listeners to weigh in. As we're talking now, someone has sent me an email, and I wanted to make sure that I can share this. Okay, I think I can pick from it, but I can't share it entirely. I just sent a response saying, why not? Now, the reason why is that I say that to emphasize how people might say, oh, it's civil servants, they don't want to speak out. No, it's not that. I think people have come to a space where they realize, A, it don't make sense to say anything because nobody's doing anything about it. And then B, not only do they feel as if they're going to be victimized and the like, but they're also going to be looked upon by their own sort of circle of family and friends as a pariah, as a bad person, right? So saying that to ask this, you talk about, the groupers and the like, so we'll come back to that and the influence of people, for want of a better word, foreigners, right? Let's not get off that, because I want to come back to that in a sense so that people appreciate the importance of us working together for posterity and for, the benefit of us now, but for future generations, right?
Yeah.
But you reference, you haven't run your race. So there are many of us who, we get 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. We will start to say, boy, living on borrowed time, or I have run my race, or whichever. I wonder if it's only my perspective. Now, I thank God that He's blessed me with some excellent health. I don't say this. I say this only to continue to ask people to pray, right, with and for me, and for each other, because I believe strongly in that, and that's the health. A health scare can come and go, and it might wake us up to other times we go through, and some of us rarely get ill, and the only health issues I have sometimes is brought on because of the foolishness I eat or don't eat, or when I eat. And I don't know about anybody else, but if you don't have something for a long time and then you go have too much of it, it might not agree with you too well, right?
Exactly.
So we know better, but we do very little. But running that race, I wonder if we who say get 50, 60 onwards, right? Not even 70 and 80, but them as well. If we are deliberately excluding our input because we feel that we've come to that age and stage, or is it because we finally get to that stage and finally say, you know what, people weren't listening, I'm just saying this and speaking into the wind and don't make any sense, so why bother? I wonder if it's a bit of both.
Hey, the thing about it, you're never too old to fight. When your gun is empty, still fight.
Yeah.
And even if my gun run out of bullets, I still got fight. And that is what I am trying to get people around this place to do, to not be afraid of absolutely no human being on these three islands.
My mama say they don't come as
we put them, Sterling. We put them in the power.
So with that, right?
I don't understand what people is afraid of in these three islands.
Okay, and I'm going to test that because I'm seeing increasingly a few of us. I'm going to say us, right? It may not be you and me, but I got to use a collective us. We act in a certain way because of the position that we have, elected or appointed, maybe the company we work for, maybe just who we think we are. And we like to throw our weight around, all right? And then there are those of people like us who will say, look, stay in your lane, because if you step out of line, I got to give you a good cuff, right? And some of these people, they never had anybody speak sternly and firmly to them, right?
Exactly.
And if you think of how many of us were raised, at least from my perspective, you were instructed in a certain way, you were shown a level of sort of discipline. That didn't mean that you were physically chastised. It didn't mean that you were verbally, abused or the like. There were just certain things. And when you were sort of expected to commit to something, you had to be disciplined, whether that was the exercise routine that you were committed to because the game was coming up, or whether that was the study because the exam, whatever it was, you had to be very disciplined in it, right?
Yes, yeah.
And we've confused that. Now I think part of that is due to, again, we could probably go globally and pick a few names of some people that you could put them in a room, and if they were no longer in existence, the world would be a better place, all right? Because they're just upstarts, man. They really offer very little. But from the Cayman context, if we are taking people and we're elevating them, and we're allowing them to dictate for us against what would be common sense and better judgment, then that's on us. If we don't do anything about it, we don't speak up, we don't stand up, we just complain, as you say, under the kneesberry tree.
But the thing about it, Sterling, I clearly get where you're coming from. Understand where you're coming from. But if we here, since we as Caymanians can't voice our opinion or speak on topics that we want to talk on, we don't need to call nobody or infringe on nobody character. But if we sit and watch the television, because I know everybody sit down and watch television, they see time and time again, Donald Trump just came out of politics in the United States as the former president. They put Biden in there because Biden was a sweet talker. Now Biden has Alzheimer's or whatever he's picking up here. Now he can't function properly. He ain't talking out in head. He don't realize what he's doing. He don't remember what he's doing. So now there people are saying, oh, we should never have put him in there. He gone against everything that he say he wasn't going to do for us or against us. We are in the same position here in the Cayman Islands. We put the people here in power. They told us they were going to do the all in all for us, and they haven't even begun.
Yeah.
4 years passed, 8 years passed, 16 years passed, and they still haven't begun. I say that time and time again when I speak on the radio.
I hear.
How often do they have to fool us in order for us to say, listen, we got enough, we got to speak?
Right. So let's look at two things, right? And I must confess, in recent times, I have not paid keen attention to the U.S. political landscape. That's by choice, right? The little bit, and I'll just quickly summarize, when the fellow before this one was there, they made a big deal. Man, you imagine he got his hand on the red button, and in a minute now he could put the world on fire, right? But yet you have another guy, presumably ice cream truck, come along, he hit the bell and he ran off mid-speech, right? And the media isn't concerned that he could be perhaps a bit chaotic in his thought process or confused in everything. Come to the Cayman context. We have the elected arm of government that we go to the polls and vote for. I would imagine that there'll be no one who would say, boy, your elections are rigged, and we have this very, very civil, high degree of participation, although it's dropped in recent times, and confidence in our electoral system that the X that we marked is for the person that we marked it for, and there's very little, other than a little antics that we see on election day, right, and allegations that come, but for the most part, we would think it's a free and fair election, right?
Yeah.
Then we have the, sorry?
No, I was going to say something while you...
Go ahead.
That. When I would really like to know and wonder how do all of these, everyone, including those big shots that in Grand Cayman are politicians,
Yeah.
And I call them for what they are. Like I keep telling you, Sterling, I raise up in the saying, call a spade a spade.
Yep.
I do not back down from nobody when I have to say something. I wonder how they feel every time they look at the Cayman public, the Cayman Brac public, and the Little Cayman public, to know that they have put in place things that they said they was going to help the people of these three islands to do and to get. And up to today, nothing has ever been done. What I am saying is, from getting off from one topic to the next, I go back to the groupers. The laws should have put in place that when the groupers was locked off for a certain time, that they give them time to replenish, and then fishermen would have been allowed to go out and even if they had said each boat go out and receive 5 per boat. What they do to cooks, it would not have been a problem for the laws to come in place and they stand up and let the law completely lock everything away, where we have no other alternatives but to go out there illegally and get what is ours. And I am saying this for the whole marine sector to hear.
Right,
because
so
they have no regulation. Right now they have regulations where certain areas on this island are locked off as marine sectors, and they don't have no individual posts, markings, or nothing on the iron shore to let people know, if I want to go out in that area, you cannot prove to me or prove to anybody else that is locked off, because there's nothing there indicating.
Yeah.
So why does the government allow these people to lock these things away from us and don't come back and challenge it and say, okay, listen, we gave on a 5 years, 6 years to replenish the group of holes. Now it's time for the people to come back out and fish and receive what they get per day. Because, Sterling, listen, if you had ever experienced grouper season, there's not every day that you can get out of grouper season, because the seas are going to be rough, especially here on the Brac. There's two group of holes, there's two mean group of holes. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of group of holes that they don't know about. I know about them. By fishing down on we call it the land of this island.
Yeah.
But they has locked off the two means. Yeah, I understand. So what happened to you all these years? Why it is that a lot of the government don't step up and say, okay, we gave on enough time, start opening back up these holes that people can fish.
Right. So two things, right?
They can get there.
I hear your point, but two things, huh? If we're doing things in this country, whether it's the politicians that pass laws or their policies that are adopted, and the public, the general public, but in particular the voting public, isn't involved, informed, sufficiently engaged and active to ensure that these things are reflective and representative of what we want, that's on us. All right. Now, in addition to that, we complain or we point fingers at the public sector, the elected arm of government, and then the civil service arm. But what are we doing about the private sector? Right? If you go into a bank, and I'm not necessarily, try to pick on banks, but we all have to use some sort of banking sector of some sort, right? And the bank says to you, oh, today our policy is, there's very little that we seem to be able to do. Give us an example. You can have a lot of money in your bank account, and as I gather, the bank sets a daily limit on how much you can use, let's say your debit card, before you make a transaction on island. So you go into a merchant, and you say, you know what, I feel like buying this new, bedroom set, or I want to buy new kitchen cabinets or windows, and you got the money there. The money is in question whether it's legit or not. It's in the system. But presumably, your card can be declined if you didn't make the bank know beforehand. Now, that's your money, right?
But, yeah.
Should that be allowed? You're not taking cash. You're electronically swiping your card at the merchant to buy this new refrigerator that's costing $15,000. Just as an example. But you're now embarrassed because, well, it went over your limit of 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 or 12,000, whatever that amount was agreed. Now, some would accept, well, if it's a credit card and you're traveling overseas, then yeah, you should make them know. One, it sounds like a good thing. Two, it's a credit limit, so it's not really cash, it's like a loan.
Yeah,
but why should you do it?
Yeah, but Stalin, who give them, who signs on the regulations?
But this is it now, right?
Who
So
signs on the regulations? That is the thing. Like I remember when COVID came down, that the banks, you had to go in with a mask, and I said, I am a person that speaks my mind.
Yep.
And when I walk into the bank with a mask, I say to them, "Oh, so if I can come in with a mask, why I couldn't come in before?"
Before you get arrested, right?
What difference in a robber wearing a mask and a robber not wearing a mask?
Yeah, and I mean, think of it. Yep.
The thing about it is people put laws and rules in place. In somewhere, some department have in order to sign off on rules. And I'm not talking about the banks with the mask, but
no.
I am talking about the different sectors of this country, the private sectors, especially that come in here.
Right.
And then the ones also that under the government sector.
Yeah. And the reason...
Some department has to sign on these things that they're written down against the people of the Cayman Islands, and our representatives are sitting down, twiddling their thumb, and wondering if I should go out today in my car or wait till sunset.
Exactly.
So the people don't see me.
And the thing is, right, the reason that I wanted to reference that issue to Mike, the lady today that I referenced, she said, listen, and if I were to say her name, many of us would recognize the name, if not have either interacted with her, so we know who she is. And our perception is that she is a lady of great means, not just financial wealth, influence, just the word that a lady would connotate, I think it would be epitomizing her deportment, right? And she said, she went just recently to make a large transaction, and made sure that if she was writing a check, there would be money in the account that when the check was presented, that it wouldn't bounce, right?
Yeah.
So instead of writing a check, because very few places accept checks now. Again, that's a different discussion. So she's going to use her debit card, not her credit card, her debit card. Had she used her credit card, she said, it wouldn't have been a problem, other than the conversion of US to CI and then the loss in the exchange rate and what have you, right?
Yeah.
And she didn't think anything about it. She just went in, saw it, made the purchase, and was declined. Now, granted, she said it was embarrassing because she oh wow, I know I got more money than that. It's not really a lot of money, but because it was over a certain limit, luckily she said, the people in the store knew her and realized it. And then someone said, well, did you make the bank? No. She said, well, no, I'm not traveling. And she called and the bank apologized, but she said that was a simple thing. But she said, but that's my money. I mean, I'm not borrowing that from anybody else. This is money in my account, right? And we're not talking tens of thousands. No, she said, this is just, okay, maybe. Yeah, I want to buy this thing, and now you got telling me that I need permission from you to do it. I've also asked other people, and they've had that same thing. Suffice it to say that I called a banker earlier, and he said, well, boy, it's really just the policy of the bank, and try to justify it. And I said, well, really and truly, should you be able to do that? Now, he did accept that nothing Monetary Authority can do about it.
Yeah.
It's not a thing they can do. Now, is it because many of us don't make purchases exceeding, the few dollars that we spend? Is it that we don't think we can do anything and we don't say anything? But this lady was still embarrassed, and I can only imagine what she must have felt. She's in line, she gets checkout, she swipes her card, and to see it decline.
Yeah.
Now, again, pride goes before the fall, but I'm glad it sort of happened to a lady with such grace and elegance as her, as opposed to maybe one or two of us who really don't have that kind of, decorum, right?
And Sterling, not cut me off.
No.
You know what, Carl? That same situation where you just explained about that lady, similar situation happened to me here with the credit union up here. I don't deal with Cayman National down in the early 2000s. I don't deal with them, period.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, if these companies, whether it's a government entity as credit union or a private sector as CNB Bank, because that's private sector, and when they have to write their regulations and everything else on these forms, the government should tell them plain and straight, listen, come off of this rubbish about fine print and put it in visible letters that people can see.
Simple English, eh?
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Because you can't charge a person for something that a person that have good eyesight and they expect them to read something. I don't know how in the world you print that on the paper.
Yeah.
So fine. These kind of to me, Sterling, it's illegal what government is allowing these companies to do. So it's against rules and regulations.
Yep.
But then it turn around, you know who it affects? Sterling and James. That's who it affects.
So, bro, let's ask the question in two things, right? If seemingly a policy, not even a government policy, but a policy of a private sector entity can trump legislation, right? That means our policy is above our laws and sometimes our constitution. Then why are we allowing that? Number one, right? I know we got a news break to take, but secondly, what if, as has been alleged, some of us, and let's pick on the politicians for a second, right? Let's just use them. So they're up in the Legislative Assembly and they're making a contribution to whatever it is on the floor of the House, and they get a little bombastic and carry on and right? They're doing their political thing to make it look good for their voters and stuff. But at the end of the day, they're using that office and that position to be able, again, this is the allegation, to make sure, let's say if they went to the bank, they can now influence their outcome a little better, right? Now, if that is alleged, if it's the perception, if it's accepted, again, it is us for the public to say, well, that's not how it should go. Instead, you need to use your office to do what's best for the country, right? You're there to serve.
Exactly.
But
and to put in another word there, Sterling, if those politicians, if I can use the word, they need to be warned that they are being watched on national television.
But let's go one step further.
Warned that they're being listened to what they're telling the public. This is what the complete public needs to do. It needs to record what they're saying and bring it back out in open air for them to reflect, remind them of the things that they said.
Yeah, man. Well, I always appreciate it. There are a couple of things that I reference the groupers and the like, but we do have that news. We want us to chat some more later. You got quick final thoughts you want to share with us?
No, I just burdening down with this thing with these groupers because I am getting hungry and I'm sick of eating chicken, so something that will be done.
Yeah, man. Well, I got taste with some call Lou myself.
I'm telling you, man.
All right. I appreciate everything you say, man. Talk to you soon.
All right, you too. Bye.
All right. We're going to pause, go to our news, continue the open line after. And you can call and take us to task, and you can be encouraged to share your perspective because you have the courage to speak out and stand up. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
They say variety is the spice of life, and that's why at Subway we are introducing the new boneless hot sub.
Say what?
The premium sub brings new ingredients like spicy breaded boneless chicken, French's crispy fried onions, and buffalo wing sauce, bringing a zesty and flavorful experience with every bite. Add some of your favorite veggies, cheese, and ranch sauce of your choice of freshly baked bread for the ultimate boneless hot sub. For a little spice in your life, try the new boneless hot sub from Subway.
So good and tasty.
And make it a meal with a drink and chips or cookies. Subway. Eat fresh.
JN Money touchdown. Send the money now. Reach wow. You say you need some money. JN Money, I can send it in a hurry. Get through quick when you come collect your cash or use your money card and swipe it in a flash. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know what it, yeah. JN Money, we are pick, yeah. Send and receive funds at any JN Money location. It's fast, affordable, and convenient. Money touchdown with JN Money. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know what it, yeah. JN Money, we are pick, yeah.
Call 345-945-2014 for details. Available at JN Money locations across the Cayman Islands.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments from January 12th to the 21st at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.portercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That is 946-9020. Apply today to the Walker Scholarship and Legal Training Program. You will join the Walker Scholarship and Legal Training Program, knowing that you will be offered more, both throughout your time in the program and after qualifying as a Cayman Islands attorney at law. Preparing Caymanians for a career of excellence through mentorship, opportunities, repetition, and experience. Be sure to have your application submitted by 28th of February 2023. Visit the careers section at walkersglobal.com to find out more about Walker's Cayman legal scholarships, articles of clerkship, qualifying work experience, and legal internships.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Radio Cayman, the voice, the heart, the soul of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Water Authority Cayman is celebrating 40 years of service to the Cayman Islands. A special logo has been designed by the authority's laboratory technologist Jerry D. Banks and will be featured across platforms and promotion of events linked to the Ruby anniversary. The theme of WAC on Tap was selected by Water Authority staff to mark the celebrations. In international news, normal air traffic operations are slowly resuming in the U.S. after flights were halted, the Federal Aviation Administration said. It follows a problem with the system that alerts pilots to potential hazards on flight routes. The FAA had said flights would begin to take off again, though further delays are expected due to a backlog of flights. Airports nationwide were affected from Denver to Atlanta to New York City. Elon Musk has broken the world record for the largest loss of personal fortune in history. From November 2021 to December 2022, he lost around $165 billion, Guinness World Records said in a blog on its website. The figures are based on data from publisher Forbes, but Guinness said other sources suggested Mr. Musk's losses could have been higher. It follows a fall in value of shares in Mr. Musk's electric car firm Tesla after he bought Twitter last year. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Born September 25, 1947, at Watering Place, Cayman Brac, Royce Adolphus Dilbert was the firstborn son to Helen and Grace Dilbert. As a young boy, he attended Weston Primary School, then later Gainstead High School in Jamaica, when the family moved there to be closer to his dad, who was chief engineer on Cockernel ships. During school breaks, he would work at Hannah's haberdashery store as a wrapper. Wanting to be a seaman and engineer like his dad, shortly after his 16th birthday, Royce would join his dad on the Cockernel ship, the Kirk Pride, as a messman, later working on other Cockernel ships for Bawden Shipping on the Merkel, National Boat Carriers, West Indian Towing Company, and West Indian Lines. Mr. Dilbert would enroll at National Technical School, and at age 25, he achieved his chief engineer license. By this time, Royce had worked his way up the ranks from BR messman to wiper oiler, fireman, second and first engineer to chief engineer.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. It is open line 949-8037 949-6990, and you can WhatsApp 925-3261. You can call us toll free if it works for you, 1-800-534-8255. Send us as you wish in whatever format you choose. What is it that you want us to discuss? Now, to the gentleman that called just prior, and we had a very engaging conversation. Let that be your inspiration. You can agree with what was shared. You can say, well, what are you, we're looking at that way. What about this way? Now, I think if we could find a sense of unity, what can unify us? What can bring us closer together? Now, to the caller's point, there are a couple of things I wanted to ask, and use this opportunity to invite the rest of you to weigh in. He shared as an example the whole notion that we have the groupers and we can protect them and other marine resources. Could we not do the same with the Caymanians? If we're going to protect and ensure that the fish and the lake get a chance to catch up, well, do we reduce the population, as many have shared, so that we can have the breeding space as well? I want to maybe pick that up in a second, but let's take this call. Hey, welcome, good afternoon, thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sterling, and a happy new year to you and your family.
Hey, good afternoon, and a blessed, safe, happy, prosperous, and healthy new year to you as well.
Yeah, I think the last time we backed up was by the Brack Reef and the Brack.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah.
Gee, I was trying to, when you said, I was thinking, well, I hope that was somewhere out in front of the post office, but if it was that long ago, that must have been the day when our handsome had hair. That's kidding. Good to hear from you, man.
Nice speaking with you. The gentleman that was talking to you just he's a very good friend of mine. I want to ask him to check on something for me because I need to get in contact with the Marine, what they call it now, the Department of Environment. But I need somebody that knows what they're doing. Check this out, because I checked it out last year. Right now I can't do it because I have a condition with going in the water and diving.
Okay.
But I know he's a very strong person on these type of stuff.
Okay.
So I'll give Miss Paulette his number, or my number rather, that he could give me a call and he could check into what I'm trying to get worked out.
And thanks for that too, because sometimes, other people, maybe as you said, they have a way of navigating, they might have a little insight, and they might just have a little time, they maybe have a little bit more, input. So it's good that we help each other. I don't know how to do this, can you help me with it? And then you can help someone. Perfect, man. We work together, right?
Right. Well, it's two people I would check with. He is one, and the other one is your lobster friend from West Bay. I think I used to call him Clydas.
Clydas, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he is another one.
Yep.
If you can pass on my number to them for me.
All right.
I would like to get the two of them to check what I'm referring to and see if what I am referring to is correct.
So before you hang up, right, the guy will take your number and I can give it to them for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, man, and good to hear from you. Thanks too, and I'm hoping that we can get, together and resolve the issues that affect us. Because if it affects one, it might affect all. But if it's something that would benefit that one person, that's a good thing as well. All right.
It's not a benefit one person. It will benefit the 3 islands.
Exactly, all of us. Yeah.
If what I am determining is right.
All right.
Because right now I don't know how many Caymanians they have employed the Department of Environment, because all I come across there is foreigners, and they bring this foreign criteria into the Cayman Islands. 73 years old, and I have never heard of a guerrilla grouper. At one stage, the Marine officer in Cayman Brac wanted to lock up a man for a day grouper. And that is something you catch in 300-400 fathoms of water. When you pull him up, he's already dead.
Yep. Yeah,
that is the stuff that we Caymanians has to deal with these foreigners.
Mr. Loxley has publicly talked about, a sense of being CI sensitive, and I, from a personal perspective, have always witnessed a strong respect for our environment, especially our marine environment. My dad would always tell us, save some for tomorrow. And as a little boy, I thought he meant the day after today.
I do that too. But like I said, Sterling, when I was a kid growing up, for us to get money for Christmas time, we used to go along the bay and pick the bleeding teeth and different shells, and they used to ship them to Jamaica. I think you might be a little bit too young to remember it, but the only export we had out of the Cayman Islands was thatch rope, dry grouper, shark fins, turtle shell, and coconuts. That was the 5 exports we had out of the Cayman Islands. If you go and ask the environmental people now about it, they don't know nothing about it. But yet the foreigners is coming in, eating the sea eggs and eating the periwinkles and thing off the beach. There's nothing being said about it because everything that is there as a marine officer is a foreigner, and he agrees with his foreign nationality.
It is, if we're not careful, we're on the precipice of creating this environment that we're divided along so many lines, and we never had that sort of division in our country. And it seems that either A, we're consciously promoting that division, or B, we're seeing it happen but turning a blind eye to it. I've heard some people, for instance, reference the strong prospect recently, especially with the large purchases of significant properties, where, what was the phrase they used? Uber wealthy, right? Yeah. So that you end up with the servants, who cater to these people. Now, that's a plantation society that we never had, and we shouldn't, ignore, could be possibly creeping in.
Foreign, Sterling, I was listening to the record this morning, and I didn't know that you could apply for work permits before the person came to the country.
Okay.
I thought they had to be brought into the country, scrutinized, and then you apply for the work permit, and then it was granted. But how am I going to go to Timbuktu and get somebody from there, and when they land at the airport, they already have a work permit?
Yeah, my understanding, your point that I can see some was, not in agreement, but my understanding is that the person had to be off island before the permit was granted, and when they came into immigration, they would, be processed accordingly. Now, if someone was legally resident on the island and qualified, then that was a separate thing. But if you were in the country as a visitor, you could not, and unless it's changed, I was told it was illegal to be actively seeking employment. Now, we know that practice allegedly has happened. Then the person leaves while the permit is being processed, and then they come back. But that whole immigration system really needs to be looked at carefully.
Very carefully. Very, very carefully.
And I gather that the Cayman Brac situation is even, how did one lady put it to me? let me change it up how she put it, because that won't create problems for some of us. She says it's a lot easier, put it that way, to get a permit to come to the BRAC to work than it is to do so for Grand Cayman. The fees are less, and the process is a lot easier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And depending on who you are too.
Okay. Huh. Interesting, huh?
It's one thing I see that need to be done in the Cayman Islands. Mm-hmm. Okay? Instead of other politicians being in office for 30, 40, 50, 100 years, it need to be 2 terms and you're out.
Now, we have that for the Premier. You would want that for all of the other elected members of the House as well?
All the other elected members. After 2 terms, you're out. Because what they're doing is they're getting in there, they're staying 10, 15, 30 years. The ones that is coming in, that lose and another one come in, they're buying them out and getting rich overnight off of it. Here, dealing with the big people.
Yeah, but if and I can see why many of us would consider, implementing term limits for certain positions, right? And then there are those who, because I had this discussion again recently with someone over the Christmas break, who said, but you have a small population as it is, small pool of people which to pick from, and if you start limiting, people's ability to be elected that way, you may soon run out of people. But then this person's perspective was simply, but then you take away the voters' freedom of choice. And should it not be the voter who says, you know what, I don't like that person, they've only been there, for a term, but that's it, not voting for that person again. Or the person might say, you know what, that person been there 4 terms, man, I like that person, I gotta give that person another vote. Should it not be for the voter to decide whether to vote for or not?
Well, you see, this is what it boils down to. The country is so small that the one with the deepest pocket comes around at election times and start dishing it out. You get a brand new fridge, you get a brand new stove, you get a brand new washer and a brand new dryer, so I'm going to vote for you. You getting the term?
Yeah. And we know increasingly that seems sort of thing now is expected from the voter, some sort of appliance, a couple of loads of marl, a promise of this or that.
Yeah.
But again, that's on us, man. I mean, if and I don't want to insult anybody, right? I really don't. But if that is what we think our vote is worth, you can buy me windows for my house. Maybe you built me a new house. If that is what I am worth, then if someone's willing to pay you for what you want, you put a value in yourself.
Yeah.
So, but then the question asked, though, if they will buy your vote, are they willing to sell theirs too? And business to me is you buy something for one price and sell it back for a higher price, right? How you make a profit, right?
Yeah.
So again, we need to decide either A, that's a practice that we will not condone from anybody, or B, yeah, you can come bring me all you want, money, loads of soil, appliances, but end of the day, when I go into that and cast that ballot, that's between me and my God. Nobody knows, unless, of course, we're not so confident that it's a confidential vote. So where is the disconnect? Is there an issue with the whole process?
You're right.
Good questions, man. Good questions. Now, let me ask you, if you wish to answer. If not, others might jump in as well. 2 things. One, what do we do about it? We seem to understand that there is an issue. Some of us might say, boy, it might be this or it might be that. So what is the issue? And B, what are we going to do about it?
Well, when it comes next year, November, the people need to stand up. Because what I am seeing right now, okay, is not the Cayman Islands that I knew 40 years ago. Or even Caymanians stood up for what they wanted.
Yeah.
Now they're not standing up. They're just lying down and taking it. They're not opening their mouth.
All right. Well, two immediate things. You said November next year, right? Because that would be the expectation of when the election would be, right? Next year being. But now we have changed the election after Ivan to May of 2005, and it's now every odd year instead of every even year as it was aligned with the U.S.
That's right, too.
Right?
I was thinking it was in 2020.
Yeah, exactly, and maybe, I'll be honest with you, I always thought that that's how we should go back because that was the agreement. But we also saw this last election, we were expecting election this date. There was a little bit of whispers that it would come early, and so it did. So who knows, the next election might be early. It might be when, we're expecting it. God forbid, they might decide, we're not going to have an election till another time. But it comes back to us as the voters. I mean, we're sitting down taking it, right?
Yeah.
So if you're willing to, someone might put it to you, if you're willing to take it, then that's on you. So the last question is then, and say, what are we going to do about it? Are we willing to stand up with the people who say enough is enough? Tomorrow, for argument's sake, me, you, Paul, James, John, Peter, Mary, and Mike get together and we say, you know what, we got to have a meeting out here and we got to talk about this thing. You think anybody else will come and join us and listen? And if they did, are they going to do anything about it?
Yeah, but then again, what you got to look out for, you got to go and get a permit to do that.
So we can't get together anymore without getting approval.
Right.
So what are we going to do about that?
Should they deny that permit, then that's it.
So is there a democracy then? So let me ask you, from what you just shared, if we decide tomorrow that we got to go in front of the town hall, or we got to have a meeting in somebody's front porch, let's call it a public meeting, a political meeting. We can have the public there. We can talk about groupers, or we can talk about, this pace of development or whatever it is, right? Whether it's politically inclined or not. Your view is that if you don't get permission from the police or whoever, you can get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
But is that a democracy? I mean, that kind of stuff that you would see in a communist country.
No.
All right.
As far as I know, you have. Well, I know, like if we wanted to go and do a demonstration and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the reason, but you are right. I mean, you want to do a procession of sort, and you want to do a demonstration. That's one thing, right? But even that should be something that we should be careful as to how those several freedoms of expression and association and the like, how they can be curtailed. But even if people share your perception that a public meeting like that needs permission, whether it's true or not, the fact that we have that perception, people might be afraid already to get together. Boy, I don't want to get in trouble. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I don't want to get arrested. And you see, we're a docile people, very compliant, very law-abiding, very civil. I mean, we're good people. Just don't push us too hard, because then we push back.
Right.
Again, what are we going to do?
Just sit down and take it. If you look at all the politicians that have been in the House,
yeah,
you see?
Yeah.
I know, for instance, in Kimon-Brack, it was only 1, 2, 3 politicians from time I can remember that has been in the House that have never left Kimon-Brack to come to Grand Cayman and help build Cayman, and Kimon-Brack went down to what it was in the 1950s and early 60s. Years ago in Kimon-Brack, we had 3 ships a week coming in there. Now we got 1 barge whenever the weather is good to come there.
Yeah. I'm wondering, right, why is it that when we look at this country, and I understand some of the historical context, I'm not going to say I understand it all, nor am I going to profess to say that I accept it, right? But we look at this country and we're quick to divide ourselves. I would not want the people in Kimon-Brack, nor in West Bay or East End or any of the districts to be disadvantaged, right? Now, it doesn't mean that we all have a national stadium in our districts. It doesn't mean that we all have to have, exactly the same thing, a runway for international airport in each district. But if on Kimon-Brack, you can't get food on a regular basis because the barge can't come in, something needs to be done. I mean, we can't make people starve to death. We can't make people pay higher prices for bread in one district because, well, that's just how it is. I mean, you're not talking about two different countries.
Yeah, it's a shame and a disgrace because you know, I don't see the concept to it. These politicians, they just want to fill their pocket, and to the rats who else suffer and everything else.
Right. Well, I wonder, and again I say this, and it's not at all to offend the voter. If anything, it's to ask the voters to start thinking about the responsibility in a democracy that is supposed to be on the voter to become informed and involved, and to ensure that, you know, the thing that is happening in terms of laws that are being passed or amended or policies that are adopted, that we are aware of it and we are benefiting not just the special interest, not just a particular sector. Now, granted, a food commodity comes into Grand Cayman and then is sent to the BRAC. There is an added cost of getting it from here to there. But should that cost be so high that if it costs $2 here in Grand Cayman, it costs $20 in Cayman BRAC? No, probably not that much of a difference, right? But we need to figure out, if it's going to cost more, how can we share that cost so that it doesn't become not only exorbitant, but it's such a place where the people in the BRAC can't afford it and they have to go without. And I don't think the answer really is that difficult to come up with.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Well,
nobody is trying to do anything because, like I said, politicians don't live in Cayman BRAC. They can't, like me or you can run to Foster's and pick up pick five different meat kinds, $20. That is 5 days of food. In Cayman BRAC, that's 1 day of food that you buy.
Yeah.
That's going to cost you $20.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have like the pick five and thing up there.
Right.
You go and pick up a chicken or whatever. Right now, I would say you're paying $7 a dozen for eggs in Grand Cayman. You are at least paying 10 in Cayman BRAC.
Wow. Well, we need...
There's another problem. We got 2 gas stations, and the gasoline is duty-free in Cayman BRAC.
Yeah.
When I was working at the port, we used to ship it from Cayman BRAC to Grand Cayman in 5,000-gallon containers, and they were selling it for less than what we were selling it for in Cayman BRAC, because it was duty-free over there. They were just taking it from over there and bringing it down here.
It is for us to really think. Now, I want to ask you one other question. You decide if you want to weigh in now or later, but I would very much like others to consider it. And it's only from the premise that there's one country. We got 3 islands. We got 6 sort of districts, as it were, in the past, electoral, and now we got 19 little chopped up bits and pieces, I call it. And I hope that offends people to start to think about it. So, being that as leading as possible, what is your perspective? When we go to the polls now, we all congregating in little garrison communities, and we're voting for 19 individuals. Do you think that's a better system than what we had? Or do you think a national vote where we have a more of a collective say in the people we elect would have been a better system?
I think more that we collectively vote for who we want. The 3 islands cast a vote for who they think. Just for saying sake now, that if Mr. John Brown running for in Grand Cayman, we the people in Cayman BRAC, in Little Cayman, we want to vote for him, we can vote for him.
So no matter where.
Right.
And because everything and the reason why I ask you is that someone was sharing with me a little exercise that they were conducting. I wouldn't want to call it a poll, all right? Where they were asking individuals and they were being sort of sort of given the perspective that more and more of us are seeing the need to have, a better say in what's happening in the country, and that might be one way to achieve that. And I want to be careful how I put this, but I've begun to feel that they made a mistake relative to supporting this one man, one vote idea, right? And I'm asking if that was the perception by some, what can we do about it now to make that necessary change to give us more of a collective input? And just wondering, are we ready to start a dialogue to see how we as voters can have a better say in what's happening within our country?
Yeah, because you see, like Cayman Brac now, the elected people, they don't live over there on a daily basis. They come every now and then and visit. But you don't know what is going on in the country.
Yeah. Yep. And as one of our listeners, well, we'll talk about it after the break, but certainly you can share with us anything else. But as one of our listeners is saying now, people in this country are increasingly feeling it harder and harder financially to make ends meet. They're feeling displaced. They're feeling a sense of despair, like there's no hope. And as this person weighs in, not only are you no longer recognizing your neighbors, you don't recognize your politicians, they don't look and sound like you, they don't relate to the issues that you are facing. Not just because they speak differently and whatever, but they just don't seem to have the conscience, the humility. And I don't know if that applies to one or to all, whether that applies to any. But we're in this boat, and are we working to make it, as shipwright as possible?
We need to.
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts you want to share with us, sir?
No, Dwayne, that is about it. But like
right.
I said, if you can get those.
Okay. Well, you don't hang up, right? Let the guy take your number, and I'll pass it along to Cletus and Mr. Butler himself. All right?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for taking time. Just hold on, and Paul will take your number. We're going to pause and take a break. I think I had a couple of messages here that I want to read through and share with us. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointments.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Increase your chances to win during the Rubis Pure Joy promotion. Don't miss Double Stamp Tuesdays and Thursdays at Jose's Rubis. Reflections offers you gas for less, and each time you fuel up at Jose's Rubis, you can enter to win weekly prize giveaways, plus the grand prize of a beautiful piece of land in Grand Cayman.
I'm sorry, what?
What did you say? Yes, Double Stamp Tuesdays and Thursdays are back at Jose's. Lower priced fuel, awesome prizes, and your chance to win a $150,000 piece of land. Don't forget, on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Jose's Rubis, you not only get gas for less, you get double stamps to enter to win a $150,000 piece of land in the Rubis Pure Joy promotion. Be entered to win in the Rubis Pure Joy promotion by January 27th.
New year, new arrivals at Tomlinson Furniture and the Mattress Gallery. Modern and stylish bedroom sets are up to 20% off. Save up to $600 on Beauty Rest Black mattress sets and iComfort mattress sets, including adjustable bases. Our Palliser shipment of quality sofas, sectionals and sleepers has also arrived with great family-friendly steam-resistant fabrics. Discover all the new arrivals, including plush beanbags. Save now until January 31st, only at Tomlinson Furniture and the Mattress Gallery, corner of Hospital and Walkers Road.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. It's going to be open line as we go straight to the phones. Hey, welcome. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling. Captain Farrington here.
Hey, Captain. Sir. Good to hear from you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Let me quickly drop something on you. I know you need a little more on your plate, so.
Hey, listen, man. Bring it on.
Well, something that I see brewing that I don't hear about, at least I never heard anything from government about it. It is the uninsurables.
Uh-huh.
So then that's a problem. If they don't address it now, it's going to be slung around their neck. That has to be addressed. That's going to become a big, big problem.
And just to be clear, you're talking about health insurance, right? Those people who can't.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Thank you for correcting me on that.
No. You were correct and you were clear, but just in case people didn't quite follow, I just want to make sure.
Well, next, I want to give you the title of, I think it's 6 books, written by, to me, the best psychiatrist in the Western Hemisphere.
Okay.
Okay? You tell me when you're ready to take it.
I got my pen in hand and paper, and there's ink in it, so you write, I'll read.
Right.
Or you read and I write.
So, the first one is An Unquiet Mind.
An Unquiet Mind?
Right.
Okay.
The second one is Touched with Fire.
Touched with Fire? Okay.
Next one is Night Falls Fast.
Fast?
Next one is The Passion for Life. The next one is Nothing Was the Same.
The same. And the sixth one?
Huh?
Okay, that's 5. Okay.
All right, last one now then. Setting the River on Fire.
Setting the river on fire.
Right.
Okay.
So, naturally, what they can do is, when I say they, those who are affected by mental illness, they could kind of form a club. And, but either of those books will be of a great help to them.
Yes, sir. Now,
go ahead.
Sorry, I can quickly put the titles in and get the author, but just to make sure I find the right authors, you have the author's name to hand? The psychiatrist?
Dr. Jameson is, of course, she now has a PhD. And when I spoke to her last, which was yesterday now, she told me she was taking lithium. So then that is one of the medications that is treated. Oh, that's a minute for me.
Yeah, of course. All right. And certainly, we want to be able to engage all in Sunday alike. So the phone lines are available for anybody who wants to call and share a thought. And if it's a constructive, positive thing that might help.
Let me call you back.
Okay, well, you call us and make sure everything's right. All right. Thank you very much, Cal. All right. Well, this is 6 books I love to read. I know personally television is something I probably watch more than some of my family members, and not as much as some. And in recent times, unless I'm in good company, I don't really care to look at that screen too often. Having said that, someone just introduced me to a particular series, and I thought, oh man, but we'll see how that goes. But a good book, man, or 6, even better. So, if you got a book that you think we should read, let us know and share with us. 949-8037, 949-8037, 949-6990, or call us WhatsApp. Send us a voice note, or send us your thoughts. 925-3261 on our WhatsApp. Likewise, toll free 1-800. That's 1-800-534-8255. Here's a message here's some messages on our WhatsApp. One listener, she shares, so a big problem is that the generation existing now or below our age group, and that is in their 40s and late 50s, seem not to care. They hardly voice their opinions. What will happen after we are gone? Now the question is, what are we doing to encourage them? And worse, what if in our schools? What if in our churches, in the youth groups, Bible studies? What if in our classrooms, in our homes, our sports and the like? We're telling the children, we don't hear from you. What if we're promoting some group over the others? And what if the ones that are being sort of dispossessed of their voice or chastised for speaking out are the Cayman child? What if? 949-8037, 949-6990, or 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. Let's read this other message. It says, good afternoon, Sterling. I would like to get a message out to the relevant authorities or building contractors who are in the process of building City Plaza on Crew Road next to the PPM office. Something needs to be done about the amount of garbage that is being thrown into the bush where the workers park. The workers need to be made to clean it up, as it was never like that before, and it only got this way since they started parking there. I know that DEH have people who walk along the road early in the morning cleaning the road, but they can't be expected to clean up the excess garbage in the bush, especially when it's deliberately thrown there by lazy or nasty people. Says, have a good day. So that's City Plaza on Crew Road next to the PPM office. Our listener is saying, hey, garbage is accumulating. Now, for whatever the reason, let's do as the listener shares and say, let's clean this up. Let's not let this be an issue for us. You may subscribe to the notion that cleanliness is next to godliness. You may have the perspective that it's important to have our space and our place clean and sanitary because of the health concerns. Or you may think, well, someone will come after you, throw it up there. You might say, well, someone's paid to do that, aren't they? You might think, well, it's no big deal. That's going to biodegrade. It might take 1,000 years. It may only be 100 days, but it will eventually. Well, what happens in the meantime? From centipedes to roaches to rodents. But the question is it malicious and deliberate? Is it just a lack of consciousness and sensitivity? Is it, as this listener borrowing from the tourism minister's comments, nasty people? And we don't want that. We don't want to offend people and embarrass someone alike. Now, it is next to the PPM's office, so perhaps they'll take a keen interest in it. And with that in mind, it's looking at one. Thank you, Mr. Carl, for sharing with us. I'll reference that in a second. Someone has shared something with us, and we just wanted to figure out exactly what it was. Now, when we come back from the break, I'm going to invite you to share your thoughts with us, give us your perspective, and let's engage. Doesn't mean we agree. It doesn't mean that we necessarily get along in a way that we sit and sing Kumbaya. Never did like that song particularly, but it means that we're civil and respectful and responsible enough to respect each other's opinions and to be willing to defend the other's right to voice that opinion. We just accept that we need to be, with that right to speak, responsible to do it in a way that is respectful to others. So call us and tell us what you think. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable. MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
Show your Cayman pride this National Heroes Day. Join us in Heroes Square at 9 a.m. on Monday, January 23rd to honor those who have served our country through volunteerism and charitable services. As always, the event is free and open to all. The festivities will also be aired live on Radio Cayman and streamed on Cayman Islands Government YouTube channel.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. 949-8037, 949-6990, or toll free 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261 and invite you to be a part of the discussion. I think that we should be at a space and a place now, not only because of the age and experience, but also because of the time in the human history, to be able to stand up for what we believe in, to accept responsibility for our words, our actions, and sometimes for the things we fail to say and fail to do. But we also should be able to point fingers and call people out, if that's the parlance of today. You hold them accountable, doesn't matter who they are. If, as you know, the lady who had, and again, I want to share this because I can only imagine, the embarrassment she must have had. Such a calm demeanor, such a docile, gentle lady who is doing something for someone, and it is a purchase that may seem for some of us to be quite large, but for her, and this is not a boast, for her it's not a big deal. It's something that she thought she could purchase. It was, a few dollars, but she didn't think that she was committing anything wrong. She didn't think she should be embarrassed, and from what I understand after the fact, it wasn't something that she would have made the recipient know, where it came from. But suffice it to say, she goes into the retailer, makes the purchase, and because it exceeded a certain amount of money, she didn't tell her banker on island that she's doing a transaction using her debit card, and for it to be declined. That may seem insignificant. Honestly, I can tell you many times, many of us way back when we would write checks, and thankfully the people at the bank, they knew their customers, and they would say, call you up and say, do you realize that you didn't transfer money from this account to cover your check, but we could charge you a fee for it, but we'll honor the check. That was good customer service, and you were like, oh, thank you so much, and you pretty much took what the bank gave you because you saw they were looking out for you, and they knew, again, they're your bankers, they know you have money in the account and you would cover the check, but you didn't reconcile your account in time. Now, I believe it was and probably is an offense to knowingly write a check where you don't have the money to cover the account. It hasn't happened to many of us. It probably hasn't happened often. One time, getting your check bounced for whatever reason, or being embarrassed like that, even as grateful as you may have been to get a call from the bank manager, you were insured the next time you wrote a check. You had money in your account, you transferred it across. Didn't matter if you had lots of money, you just wanted to make sure money was in that account. But here's a lady goes into the retailer, swipes her debit card, all excited to make the purchase, and boom, it's declined. Now, thankful as she shared, the staff and everybody in the store, most understanding, but she said, I really felt embarrassed. Now, I don't know how I would have responded if it was me, but it got me to thinking, wait a minute, is that how it should be? Bankers would say, yeah, of course, we need to make sure. Again, it may be, but is it one small thing that is insignificant, or is it one small thing that we accept and it's become the norm? And then one day it's not one small thing, it's a million small things, or it's a large thing. Again, just something to think about. You may not have had that experience because your purchases don't go above a certain amount. That's just how it is. But maybe you're like this person who thinks, well, I've got the money in my account and I want to do this for this person because it's Christmas, and you know what, they could use this thing, and I checked it out and it's okay. They don't need to know it's coming from, and bam, you get embarrassed. Again, for so much you say, well, people, they got a lot of pride, but shouldn't we? We want to make sure our shirts are ironed, when we go to school or come to work. Maybe we don't have enough pride. Maybe that's why we have all the litter on the roads. The cars are being discarded. Maybe we don't value anything, each other or even ourselves. Now, take me on if you think, it's out of order. But if you're willing to accept any and everything, well, then what? 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990. And here is, a couple of messages that we want to share with our listeners. Let's go to this one if I can get it up. Yep. This person writes, says, after Mr. Sterling, I also want to add my voice to that of your reader regarding the garbage at the grounds near the City Plaza project. I walk my dog along there regularly, and I am disgusted at the build-up of garbage. There was never any garbage there before the building started. The developers could provide garbage receptacles for the use of the workers and insist that they use them or have them clean. Up the place. Thanks for your attention. Oh, bunch of messages coming through. So City Plaza, is on Crew Road. This listener shared next to the PPM office. So I know the PPM doesn't want that, to reflect on them. It's not them, but maybe it's the thing. All right, the phone lines are open to the listener who's trying to reach us on a toll-free number who says it doesn't work. We are aware of that. I'm so sorry that that's an issue. So dial 949-8037 or 949-6990. Welcome, good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Hello, good afternoon.
I'm back.
Hi, yes, sir. Welcome. Well, I'm glad that you're back and you're okay.
I wasn't looking up the credentials on Dr. Jameson. I knew that you had all you needed to do that.
I will,
so,
yes.
The thing is, I figure you would say, that was quite a statement you made, that Dr. Jameson was probably the best psychiatrist in the Western Hemisphere. But when I found out about her, you know what she was? She was in charge of department of psychiatry at Johns Hopkins.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And she was attacked, I call it attacked, by mental illness at a young age. So she battled it all through. Believe it or not, she eventually got a PhD degree.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I admire her.
Mm-hmm.
So I will finish up some of the things that I want to tell you later, but I'm sure that others want to get on now. And I have a short story, and it entails mental illness, and I will tell that to you later.
Mm-hmm. Well, I certainly want to hear that, because I'm glad that you referenced that. And for many of us, we don't understand the importance of, having that addressed as part of our overall health and well-being. So thank you for sharing that, sir.
What a doctor told me the other day.
Mm-hmm.
He was no psychiatrist. I said to him, Cayman Islands is a bad place to be dealing with mental illness because there's so much to learn. He said to me, the last report he saw, there were 3,000 different ailments of mental illness. I said, what?
Wow.
I said, yes. I said, no wonder that it's such a problem for even good psychiatrists to nail it. Anyway, guys, good talking to you, and God bless, and I'll talk to you later.
Amen, sir. Thank you, too, for calling. And this is have a wonderful afternoon, sir. This is another reason why we can't take for granted the place we live in. All the callers today, all the callers every day. And as Captain Owen has shared, if you wouldn't mind me saying, not just as a past parliamentarian, but as a seafarer, as an elderly gentleman, still participating, still active, still caring and concerned and loving about our people, and as the days go on, becoming even more impassioned to ensure that we live in a wonderful place. It's been in the public domain, and if he doesn't mind, Dr. Lockhart voiced his opinions. Hey, not a politician, not trying to do anything other than to say, let's do what we can to make the country better. Let's continue to acknowledge the need for our health and wellness, including our mental health and wellness, to be a priority. I did a course way back when for my own benefit on mediation and arbitration, not for any career advancement, but simply because, in talking to people, they say, boy, you listen. I do, but I don't always necessarily feel that I have the experience, the expertise to respond, and I'm not going to profess to be a lawyer, an accountant, a doctor, a psychiatrist, or the like. But if I know a little bit and I can, guide and help and assist in some way, that's good. So let's do that for each other. Now let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hi, man, listen. Speaking of good people, another appears. Welcome, my friend. Good afternoon.
Well, I certainly appreciate your opinion.
Well, I'm sure I'm not the only one that shares it, man. But thank you, man. I know your heart, so thank you.
Well, I was just listening on and off of the show, in and out when I get in and out of the car. Obviously, it's always a good topic when we're talking about our heritage and who we are, and a lot. And then even with the struggles. But I was a long time ago. I'd read this quote that Ronald Reagan said in 1980, and Ronald Reagan had his moments. I don't think he was the best president, I didn't, but he did say something that stuck with me that I read from a long time ago. He said in 1980 that people think that he know for sure that governments are not the solution, because 99% of the time governments are the problem. So he said, and then how do you work with that, knowing that you understand that issues that you face, right, are predominantly caused by the government in which you depend on to look out for your best interests. And that was when he was elected in 1980 that he said it. So I guess he was trying to win over the American public by simply saying that he wouldn't be the regular politician, which eventually he ended up becoming the same thing. But it just goes. I say that only to illustrate that when we look at people who campaign for election and people who go out and make all these promises about what they're going to do and what they're not, or what they're going to change, then when they get in, we understand that the whole thing changes, and then the things that they have on their manifesto, a lot of times we see that those things go neglected. They were just the glam and glitter that they used to convince you to vote for them. But I was listening to the caller earlier on from the BRAC. I'm assuming the person was from the BRAC because he spoke only about the BRAC and regards to ships coming there or used to come there with cargo, and now there's only a barge. And Sterling, what really bothers me and what I can't understand for the life of me is how are we in 2023, for God's sakes, and Cayman Brac is still experiencing the same old type of issues that should have been solved a long time ago. And the point he made about the politicians that represent the BRAC, they don't live there. So it's going to be hard for them to really understand, what's really going on a day-to-day basis. Now, they'll argue and say different, and say, oh, well, we know what's going on. But then the question is asked then, or should be asked. If you know what's going on, then why aren't you doing anything to fix it?
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't you doing anything to actively be presumed to be trying to fix it at the very least?
Mm-hmm.
But, we know that cargo prices have been ridiculous for a long time for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. We've seen it. We've seen the reflection of that in the stores when you go there, and we see how expensive product is there. I mean, can you imagine fuel and all those things that do the free for Cayman Brac, but yet they pay just as much as us or more? So, I just don't understand why we haven't prioritized the sustainability of the Caymanian people, but yet somehow we have rolled out the red carpet and created and maintained policies that allow everybody else to come here and survive and be sustainable. I don't know what is it going to take. What will it take for any government to realize that you need to prioritize the sustainability of its people and reinvest in the people?
Mm-hmm.
Stop these social programs that are kicking the can down the road.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I heard that they extended the NICE program. I think it's to the end of the month. I could stand to be corrected. I'm not sure.
They did extend it. I can probably I'll find out the press release, but they did extend it.
It was brought to cabinet. It was approved. It was extended, and I want to mention that not because I think it's a bad thing. I think that the people who work in a NICE program, deserve to have an extra couple of weeks of work that they can put some money in their pockets for the beginning of the year. I get that. I'm not knocking that in any regard. What I'm concerned about is that we have done nothing to fix that problem so that we don't need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we shouldn't have to extend it. We shouldn't have to have it, period. Those people should be able to be gainfully occupied somewhere else where they could be consistently working and earning a living, because it's pretty clear that those persons willing to work because they're there. They're registered and you see them working and they're working hard, I can tell you. And what I see them doing ain't nothing easy to do. So I have to ask myself the question, why haven't we done a better job for job placement and for the distribution of the employment that is around this island? The problem is that we keep telling ourselves that we're going to be offending someone or violating someone or scaring off business if we go in and institute some sort of regulation that requires preference for local people to get employed in a lot of these companies and institutions around the island. I don't know why we always have to be deterred before we even get out the gate to do anything that can remotely even resemble the solution. And it's unfortunate because it goes back to what Mr. Mickey say all the time, and I can reference him because he's the most consistent person I've had the opportunity to ever witness. And he says, because we cowards.
No courage, you say, though. Yep.
No courage. Yeah, we coward.
Yep.
We're afraid to do what's in the best interest of our people in fear of offending someone else.
Yeah.
But I see the hardship every day. Every day I witness it and I see it, and because I'm not one of those people who and I do my very, very best to refrain from putting people's business in public domain. But sometimes, as that gentleman mentioned about the politicians not living in the Brac, Machiavelli, who was a political science expert, who wrote a book, and he said that if you're not living and working and dwelling in an environment which you're elected to be in, you'll certainly lose touch and lose focus and lose your seat in that area. Yeah. That's exactly the truth, because you don't know.
He did share, and I could have asked, but I was just listening because I think he was focusing on other things. I know we got a news break, but he did share, in his knowledge, 3 other politicians. But I'm under the impression that both of our currently elected members from the BRAC, they live on the BRAC. Oh, the caller? Okay. Going to the news. That's the instructions and directions. Sometimes you're in control and sometimes you only think you were. Let's pause.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Public Health Department will be providing COVID-19 vaccination clinics for children ages 5 to 11 this Saturday, January 14th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Public Health Clinic, Smith Road Medical Center. The clinics will be walk-ins, no appointments are required. It will accommodate children who did not receive the second dose of the vaccine and offer a third dose to high-risk children. The third dose booster is administered 3 months after the second dose. In international news, 3 compounds that effectively fight COVID-19 infection in human cells have been discovered by researchers based at the University of British Columbia. One was derived from a sea sponge collected in Howe Sound, British Columbia, while the others were derived from marine bacteria found in Barkly Sound, British Columbia, and Newfoundland. The discovery suggests that there could be a wealth of COVID-19 medicines waiting to be discovered from natural sources. Multi-million-dollar beach homes battered by winds, cars swallowed up by sinkholes, and over a dozen people killed after weeks of extreme storms. Many Californians are wondering when it will end. The state's famously sunny southern coast has been hit by storm after storm since the December holidays, eroding roads, felling trees, and causing landslides. As of Tuesday evening, at least 17 people have died in weather-related incidents since the storms began. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us. It's 1-800-534-8255. And we invite you to be a part of a discussion. Let's go to the phones. Welcome. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. Happy New Year to you and the family. Hope you're well.
I am indeed. And thank God for health and grace and mercies, and same to you.
Well, thank you. You know who this is, but I'll let everyone know this is Terry Tibbetts.
Yes, wow.
I also want to tell you your 1-800 number doesn't work from Kimmenbrock. I tried calling from my landline, and it said I had to pay, and I said, well, maybe it was an error with it.
No,
so I called from my cell, and it's still telling me I got to pay. So
we are aware of it. It's been that way. Mr. George Sillette has called repeatedly. He was doing that probably late November, early December. We are apparently... it appears that some people from Digicel can get through. Some people from Flow.
Check their phone, make sure it's not getting them, it's not eating up their credit.
We brought it to the attention of Flow. We're hoping that it's something that either A, can be reinstated, or B, hey, listen, it's going to be a charge from now on, so that we know. But we do recognize it,
okay.
And we do pass it on. And
then take it off your ad that you're running on the internet, because it comes up under your thing, and it has toll free. I would remove it for the time being,
and it's toll free for some. But
it's not toll free for all.
No, and increasingly it's not toll free for many.
If it's a Flow caller, if it's a Flow customer calling through Flow system of the one you would have swore we would have gotten through for free. But anyway, no worries.
But some people,
I don't have a problem paying when I call into advocate for the cats to come and back.
I pray that.
I just want the public to know what's going on.
And as you go on, just so you know what we are, just from what people have shared with us, they say that they're Flow customers, whether they're postpaid or prepaid or however it's paid. Some get through and some don't. So it isn't like prepaid can and prepaid can't. It doesn't matter.
And they have some horrible service up here in the Brack. My God. I mean, anyway.
Tell us about the issues, but thank you for persisting, and thank you for paying for the call. And now we want to hear what you got to share in relation to the country and the BRAC in particular.
Currently, our government has passed a regulation under the National Conservation Act to kill the cats up here in Kimmerbrook. And the excuse, Sterling, is actually very lame. So lame as ever. For all my life, I've known of cats in the Brook that people keep in their yards, feed them, and then, of course, they started getting them fixed and keep them in their yard. And what you don't realize is when you fix these cats, even though you found them out and they came from in the wild, they came into your yard, you start feeding them, they become very familiar with you. They're familiars, not feral. And you're feeding them and you fix them, they stay there. Okay, they stay within the area. They stay within the yard. They may just go around the border of your yard a few feet out into whatever, but they're not roaming because they prefer to stay near where food is. And the lies that's being told by these different people who claim, I've been up here almost 2 years now, and I have gone up to that lighthouse, and I've seen no cats killing anything up there. Nothing, and that's where they're there today, capturing, trapping cats to kill. And, you know, it's sad because these are God's creations. We're creating, I don't know what, a wrath upon our heads here for doing this, and it's sad. Let those of us who feed and fix the cats continue to feed and fix them because they don't go roaming to do any other damage. And, you know, the chickens do more damage than a cat does. Because some of the iguanas do too, and they're complaining that the cats are eating the baby iguanas and they're eating the booby eggs and this. I mean, the rock climbers going up the side of the bluff are mashing up all the bosun eggs, and then when they get up, because the boobies usually on the flatter part at the edge, they're mashing them up too. But you know, hear nothing talked about that. Oh, no, because that's not owned by a native Caymanian. That's a foreigner with status that created this business. And now their people that come to do this rock climbing with them are causing it. It's on YouTube. There's a guy with a GoPro video of him mashing up the eggs in the crevice on the bluff. Oh, dear. And his hand come out of the crevice, and all you see the eggs stuff dripping all off of it. You know, they are the ones. They're not looking into that. Where are the signs posted? Where are the penalties imposed for that? What penalties are imposed, Sterling? We're going to cull all the cats. They killed almost 100 of them in Little Cayman. No, this is the worst part about it. A vet cannot fix a cat that you bring in that you may come from out of your yard that wandered in your yard and you're now feeding and making them familiar. You can't take them to the vet and make them fix them. You put them back in your yard. Oh, no. They will arrest you and charge you and throw your butt in jail. And the vet will lose their license. So they're not even, you have to they're not doing anymore. You have to put that cat in your house. Well, I have 11 in my house, and I can't take in any more in my house. But I continue to fix and feed them on the outside. And there's a lot of them that I do that for. And I think it's unfair of us because these cats are not killing anything. They're not bringing any baby iguanas into our yards. They're not eating any baby iguanas because they have a steady meal. They have a guaranteed food that is fed to them every day. And they wait for their food. They sleep between the food, or they play in the yard a bit. But they're not roaming. And I don't understand why these people don't see that. And our politicians go to the parliament and pass this regulation to kill these animals. I mean, how cruel and heartless of a country can we get? Who are you going to call next? Your firstborn?
Has the program started already?
Oh, yeah, they've been up here now. A bunch of them is up in Star Island eating today after they kill off a bunch of cats up by the lighthouse. That they find up that side. They're starting up on the bluff up that side.
And how are they doing that? Do you know? How is the act of killing? Huh?
They're trapping them and euthanizing them.
So euthanasia, a nice way to say we're killing. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the pleasant form of kill. And that's so sad. I mean, why can't we trap, fix, and release the TFR? Why we can't do that? And if you fix and feed them, they're not going to roam. A lot of us spend a lot of money feeding our cats out here in the yards every single day. We don't have a problem. I go without eating to make sure they eat, you know. That's the love I have for them in my heart, and a lot of us up here have that same care and love for these animals, and now we're being threatened by this packed government regulation of the National Conservation Act.
But it's interesting, though.
What about this restaurant? Let me, before you go any further, let me say this.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, goatee. Isn't that goatee native to the Cayman Islands, indigenous?
I don't know if it's endemic necessarily, but it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's rare, and there are not many of them. But they're killing and eating them at this restaurant called Door Number 4. They got ad up on the internet today about they have a goatee stew today. You know, okay, fine, you all can eat that rat. I don't care. I don't eat rats. That's what a goatee is. It's a rat, just a bigger version of the other rodent size. But at the end of the day, you're going to kill a harmless cat we're not killing it for food. We're killing it just for the sake of killing it. It's cosmetic is what it is, Dwayne. It's not for any other reason but cosmetic. And it's sad because the people that are pushing this are the ones that are wealthy, that want no cats around their yard wandering in them. They come here and build their mansions in our islands. They don't want no cat wandering onto their yard. So they go to our government and, you know, tweak their ears and say, our elected government, I won't get that straight, not administration, and tell them, say, you need to kill these cats. You need to cull them because they're killing the boobies and they're killing the rock iguanas and the blue iguanas. When it's another nationality that eating the iguanas as well as the native bracas also eat the boob eggs. It's a punch. I grew up eating it. I know. So, you know, we need to look at it from a deeper perspective because the individuals that are pushing this program are not even native to our country. They've come here and gotten their paper status, and now all of a sudden they are what you call experts on our entire history and lineage and culture and environment, you know, and dictating all of these things to be done to the Department of Environment and the Department of Agriculture and, of course, Premier and Deputy Premier and then the heads up PAC government. They're gone now with their swift pen and sign off on this regulation to kill these cats. That is absolutely ridiculous and sick, and it's not fair and it's not right, and then threatening us that advocate and care for these cats with arrest and jail and court and jail and everything else and fines. What kind of country are we living in? Did we vote in Pharaoh and his partners? Is that who we voted in?
Well, it's two things from our listeners that I want to share with you, right? So when you all kill the cats, you know, and then the rats can take over, and lots of people and children can die from disease. So there are the cats able to keep the rats under control, right?
Exactly.
It's
called, what was it called? Environmental control, not
I know. Yeah, I didn't quite follow some of you went down low there. One listener also shares that, you know, you some good points, and hopefully the Department of Environment can do something better at enforcement. This other caller though, this other listener messages saying that quite a little bit of exchange here, so I was just trying to see if I can put it in. The gist of which is that when you reference the idea of the veterinarians possibly being sanctioned for, you know, spaying and neutering the cats and then let them back in, right? That's what you shared?
Yes.
Okay, so this person, that must have been what the message is, was referencing
if a veterinary doctor in the Cayman Islands goes now and if someone brings a cat into them sick, and they fix that cat and that cat is released back into the person's yard or in the wild, they're going to lose their license.
Okay, so this person is then...
The person who brought the cat in will get fined and thrown in front of a judge.
Okay, I did not realize that, but then again, now this listener shared that when we had, you know, I do not know where the legislation is because the person is expressing the view that there may have been either A, some amendments to it, or B, certainly a lack of enforcement. But when we had the prohibited species law in relation to dogs, that the veterinarians were supposed to not encourage the breeding, and yet many, this person alleges, did just that. So we have, some of these dogs now just integrated into the wider dog population, and it's questioning, why are we? Again, I'm paraphrasing. Why are we allowing one thing that goes against the law, but now with the cats, we are creating punishment for those who try to be humane and kind to the cats and the like.
Exactly.
So
I mean, they can take my name and they can come and see me, but I can afford to tell all the authorities, you ain't stopping me from feeding the cats. And a lot of us that have them in our yards up here in the Brack say the same thing. You don't come in our yard and try to take any and trap and remove any of our cats. It's going to be a war up here. Yeah. I'm telling you, if you ever seen a civil war in the Cayman Islands, one is, what you call it, pending.
Imminent, huh?
Yeah, imminent. So, if they come into people's yard and take out their familiar cats and take and euthanize
right.
them.
I recognize that you're paying for the call, and I recognize we have the break. But just one quick question. From your perspective, how large is the cat population on the Brack? Is it the perception that we have over here in Grand Cayman and listening to the news is that you can't step out of your yard, you're tripping up all these cats. It's,
that's ridiculous.
Like the Pied Piper leading the children out,
That's a bunch of lies.
Okay.
There are people who do have quite a bit of cats in their yard, and they have been fixing them. Yes, they do have them in their yard, but they're not rummaging over the... I remember hearing... I was in the grocery store one night, and I went up to one guy that does business up here that primarily from Grand Cayman, but has a little extension to his business up here. I won't call his name. And I said, I saw your post on Facebook about, at night, you can see the lights at night, faces. I said, that's not true. The road your house is on, I have driven that so many nights at different times because cats, let me give you the habit of the way cats roam. Early evening, say till about 9 or 9:30 in the night, they will rummage for food if they're out in the wild. But after that, till about 4 in the morning, they're asleep. Cats sleep 75 to 80% of their day. That is within a 24-hour clock. That's how much sleep they do. Rest of the time, they're looking for food. So they don't be out all night, and you wouldn't be seeing all these eyes glittering in the car lights. And if I did, Carrie, stop and get out the car and put a dish of food on the side of the road for them, or in water. I do that. You can come now, look in my truck. It got a big bag of food and little things of water and big old jugs of water with little things. I put water out there when I see them on the side of the road. That's me, and that's what they should allow us to continue to do. And then we save up and we pay to fix them, or we get some of the charities to help us pay to fix them, so that at least they will become more familiar. They're considered feral and out in the wild. That's all the solution is. The Humane Society, from what I can gather from Ms. Kaz, she's fixed almost 500 cats in our community. That means they're more familiar now, because when you fix them, they don't have that thought process of going out roaming and hunting any longer. So a lot of them are staying within yards. And so what if you come to my yard and there's 40 cats in it? I'm feeding them. What I got to do with you? Nothing at all to do with you. I'm taking care of them. I feed them. I put dewormers in their food and put tuna or sardines or something else in that dry mix with the dewormer medication that I grind up so that I can keep them dewormed. And I also put Nutrical and stuff in their food. So I keep even the ones on the outside. I keep them healthy. Keep them, in a better life. They're not dying or wandering around, and getting in all kinds of stuff. And people are poisoning the cats up here. That's how wicked they are. They deliberately poison cats. How can you put that in your mind to put something in food and put out there for some animal to eat?
Well, keep us posted, right?
Please.
And thanks for being a champion.
They need to take that heft of that enforcement section of that regulation away and let the vets continue to fix them. Let the people in the charities pay to get them fixed, or people who want to get them fixed, and they will remain.
All right. as we go, right?
Anyway, I know you got...
No, that's fine. Can I ask you, just as a sort of independent verification, there was discussion of a bill before the House to insert or to remove the word in, or actually to insert the word in with intent, right? So it had to be intentional relative to the actions of public officers and the like. If you're not familiar, we can talk about it later. I want you to look into see what is happening with that, so we can talk about that at some point, right? As you become that public advocate.
Public officers, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did read about that.
Yeah, so check it for me and let me know where you find out your perspective, all right?
All right, thanks, Dwayne.
You're most welcome, my dear.
Thank you for the call, for letting me make the call.
Of course, thank you for taking time. One final break, not long, one final call. Stay tuned.
When you're craving something big, something tasty that gives you that lip-smacking satisfaction, something that hits the spot, there is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
It's pretty tasty.
Filling and full of flavor. Try our new sweet onion steak teriyaki with a twist. Or the classic chicken teriyaki. Top it with green pepper, onions, cheese, and that sweet onion teriyaki sauce. All piled on your favorite artisanal bread. Satisfy that craving with a footlong from Subway.
Fresh, delicious, tasty, meaty.
Let's make it a meal with a drink, chips, and cookies. There is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean, and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for calling. 2 calls, not just one, but 2. Let's go to the phones. Welcome. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
And to you. Good afternoon.
Ebanks, I'm fine, and yourself?
I am indeed, man. Thank you. Thank God.
Great. Sterling, I've been listening to your commenters, the people calling in this afternoon, and from what I have discerned, and from my perspective, I think that the next election or the next campaign, and whoever's going to campaign, that the voters need to promise them that they will rid this country of stupidity. That's all I have to say this evening, because I have never seen or heard so much stupid laws and policies like they have in these Cayman Islands. Trust me, it boils me up. It maddens me. It makes me angry when I hear certain things that is law in this country. So I would suggest that the next batch of politicians that campaign promise us that they will rid this country of this stupidity and ignorance within our laws. That's all I have to say. And thank you for listening to me. I don't have much time.
No one. Thank you for sharing. Succinct.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
And you do the same. All right, 2 more calls. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm very well. It's my first time calling the show, actually.
personally, but it's a pet peeve and that I feel just compelled to talk.
Well, thank you.
It's now that we're talking about our environment and appearances and everything like that. Every time I drive by the Central Police Station in Georgetown, I look at the windows, the shabby broken blinds, it just looks dilapidated. And I mean, that's something like that could be just easily remedied by just putting either you just do put up shades or just tents or something. But it's appalling just driving across and looking at the appearance of it. And for a jurisdiction that is constantly having to defend itself for being a highly recognized and jurisdiction. See, it's the Royal Cayman Islands Police Force, the financial investigative unit or whatever, is housed in there. And I mean, for someone to look at that, it looks like a building from a third world country. And that's what's representative of who's defending the financial institution or regulating, but at least investigating potential crimes or whatever. I really feel something should be done. For the amount of the budget that's allocated, the funds that's allocated annually for that part of they should at least attend to just the appearance of the building. It is central. It is our central police. And maybe it's just me, but I find it really offensive and appalling that on any given day you just drive by and either a blind is they're always broken, and it just looks shabby and disgusting. That's all I've got to say.
Well, I wonder what about the color of our buildings, including public buildings, the police station, and because as you were sharing out, someone just messaging saying that be cognizant of some of the symbolisms or even the appearances, not just the lack of the, how did the person put it, we had more muted pastels, now we have these bright garish colors.
Yep. It's almost as if there's no thought process, there's no professionalism in these sort of buildings. I mean, they're not personal buildings. You don't just pack them with whatever decor you feel like. They're representative of us, of our country.
But is it then back to what a number of callers are sharing and what I'm gathering from, or inferring from what you share, and that as a people we're not holding our own, we're not establishing that as quote-unquote Cayman Inc. There's a branding, there's a messaging, there's a way that we should present ourselves that reflects and represents who we are. Are we being too polite or are we being pushovers?
And I certainly do agree. We are being pushed over. And for too long, we as Caymanians, we've just been too, I wouldn't say too welcoming. We should always be welcoming. We've just been always felt as if there are others that are joining us on our shore. They know more than us. Let's just go with what they have to say. Don't recognize our own for their input or whatever. Let's go by whomever comes here and feels that things should be done this way or whatever. Maybe we are just too welcoming. But I'm not bashing no one that comes to our shore and do.
No, not at all. I don't think that was whatever. Even. Yeah.
As a country, as a community, we should just be more mindful of our what buildings represent us, and maybe I'm just going on.
No. I'm listening intently, and unfortunately, the connection isn't the very best. But I'm hearing what you say, and I'm hoping that you would be encouraged to not let this be your one and only time you call. And we need to.
and I'm sorry, I haven't been listening.
That's fine, man. That's fine.
On too many occasions, so I haven't been hearing, if there were any other.
Well, the platform is yours, okay? You feel motivated and inclined, you feel inspired, you feel that we need to be chastised or encouraged, you pick up the phone and you share with us so that we...
I hope there are others like me that...
They are. Trust me, they are. We just need to be reminded that together we stand strong. A house divided can't stand, right?
It's true.
And I'm sure my mama, like many mamas have said, Dapper know who frightened.
Thank you so much for all that you do too.
Thank you for the prayers and encouragement. You have a wonderful afternoon.
Bye.
All right, thanks. Listen, we work together. Your daddy will pull you aside and say, young man, no, you got to pull up your bootstraps and you got to work hard and you got to be honest and you got to, keep your nose to the grindstone. But he also tell you need to learn how to defend yourself and speak up and stand up for what is right and just. You just sit down. What does the song say? If you don't stand up for anything, you fall. Stand for something, you fall for anything. We got a bunch of people like the caller, and many have shared, who really don't mean us well. And when I say us, I don't only mean Caymanians. I mean us that they interact with. They only about one thing. That's to get ahead at any expense. They believe that their measure is by the wealth that they acquire. Doesn't matter whether legal, legit, or honest or otherwise. Now, if we encourage them, nurture them, if we support, promote, elevate, that's on us. You can't call good bad and bad good and expect anything to be different. End of the day, we better stand in the gap and be prepared to be united. Now, a couple of our listeners, and I'll share their sentiments as we close. One talks about the cats and the like and remind us that there are other jurisdictions that, pay particular attention to their animals, their cats in particular. There are many who would appreciate that the way you treat your animals and your children would say a lot about your society. This other listener shared with us that, let me find it, and I know it's right here somewhere, and it was not many messages that we didn't read, that reminds us increasingly, too often we ignore the needs of others simply because it's inconvenient or we are unwilling. And this listener saying, a quick reminder to the people, please, those of you who walk your dogs on the roadsides, and let them do their business on other people's property, outside their fences and along the roads, please, carry a bag. Pick up after the dog is finished. It shouldn't only be in restaurants that you ask for a bag. And on a very positive note, one of our listeners want to extend a very, very special and blessed happy 92nd birthday to Captain Paul. So on behalf of that listener and all of us, happy birthday, Captain Paul. Tomorrow is another day, and as the schedule unfolds now, I've got a number of interesting things on my plate, as they say, and I can't definitively say to you at this second that my schedule will allow me to be back here at midday. It may not. Balance of probabilities is in excess of 50% that I won't be here until Friday, but I love this job and the honor and the distinct privilege to sit, facilitate, and to listen and to help you carry your burdens and share, with you the plights and the passions of our people. But sometimes, I don't know how you find it, but I find it impossible to be in two places at the same time. And sometimes you need to be where you need to be. So I might just be there tomorrow. But if I'm back here, then it's going to be a wonderful day. And if I'm not back here, it's going to be a wonderful day all the same. God's will and the plan is to be here on Friday. And if things materialize as expected, then we'll see what transpires. With that, let's take up the mantle together. Let's understand and respect the value of the society in which we live. Let's see the change in physical facade because of the development. Let's see the impact of our exploding population. Let's understand that our politicians probably mean well, but like anyone, they could always use help. Sometimes the help is to remain on track. Sometimes it's to get back on track. Sometimes the help is to say, hey, how can we make sure that it's a safer place? Sometimes the help is, okay, sit down, boy, listen up. You're getting a little too big for your britches, and have them, be counseled, not just by the people that are pulling the strings and the puppet masters, but by the people who are paying the price because we are the ones who are going to the polls. End of the day, many people never really get where they need to go because nobody gave them a helping hand. Or worse, many have stand in the way to deliberately impede. And then there are those who are so afraid of their shadows that, you say boo, and they're scared. Then there are those of us who, we never stop trying. So let's work together. And tomorrow, God's willing, we will understand that we've got to see a new day, and we will take up the mantle and press on with the prayer that the next day we'll even press on even more. Until then, have a blessed, safe, productive, and enjoyable afternoon.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice